Hello, my name is Irene Green, and I am back for my final video blog for the course. And for this week's video blog, I would like to focus on global poverty while touching on the problems concerning global justice. Recently, on a global scale, the stock market is dropping, businesses are closing and may not be able to reopen due to financial constraints, and people have been laid off or furloughed indefinitely. All the situations that I just mentioned all aid to the problem of global poverty today. Global poverty has been an ongoing issue for humanity. However, since the coronavirus pandemic, more people are beginning to live in poverty. The ethical issues of global justice and global poverty have now become a much bigger problem than they were prior to the COVID-19 outbreak. The textbook states that global justice focuses on the moral question of the underlying fairness and justice of the current globalized situation. Since the course textbook does not provide a definition for poverty, I decided to look on the internet for a credible source that gives a definition. According to Merriam-Webster, poverty is known as the state of one who lacks a usual or socially acceptable amount of money or material possessions. Now imagine that lack of monetary funds globally, and that will give you an idea of what global poverty is. But what has caused global poverty, though? Well, aside from a virus outbreak that currently has no cure, Concern USA identifies the top 9 causes of global poverty today. However, I will be looking at only the top 4, which include malnutrition as number 1, the second being little or no access to livelihood or jobs, the third cause being conflict, and the fourth cause being inequality. Even before the coronavirus pandemic, humanity has experienced these problems for years now, both internationally and domestically. In the United States specifically, people are currently experiencing a lack of monetary funds and are now depending on a stimulus check from the government to help them sustain themselves through these perilous times. The New York Times just covered an article about a mother who has to skip meals just to feed her children. Also, I found an article that highlights the key issues surrounding poverty and justice globally. Voice of America posted a report from Oxfam, a major aid organization that focuses on the alleviation of global poverty, stating that around 500 million people could be pushed into poverty as a result of the economic fallout from the coronavirus pandemic unless richer countries take urgent action to help developing nations. The organization implored richer countries to step up their efforts to help the developing world, and they stated that failing to do so could set back the fight against poverty by at least a decade and by as much as 30 years in some areas, to include Africa and the Middle East. The economy is now taking a huge blow from the COVID-19 outbreak internationally. The report also warns that between 6 and 8% of the global population could be forced into poverty as governments shut down entire sectors of their economies to manage the spread of the virus. Oxfam is calling on world leaders to agree on an economic rescue package to keep poor countries and poor communities afloat. I completely agree with Oxfam, and I believe that many countries will be depending on one another to regain their economic and financial stability. Global poverty is beginning to become a huge problem for humanity, and the only ones who can save humanity is humanity. That is where the issue of global justice comes into play, because these richer countries are reluctant to help those who are struggling to either remain or regain their economic and financial stability. If the issues concerning global justice and global poverty continue to grow, we'll have bigger issues and a lack of resources, because people will begin to result in violent acts just to take care of their family, and wars could ensue due to a lack of resources, a depletion of humanity's quality of life, and the reluctancy of richer countries to help the poorer countries. Well, guys, that's all for my final blog, and I thank you for your time.